When most people hear the words meal prep, they immediately picture one of three things, like bodybuilder food in all the same containers, or needing a commercial kitchen and doing bulk stuff, or trying to sell a whole bunch of plates to a long list of strangers. And if that's what you're imagining, I completely understand why this business might sound unappealing, or low paying, or exhausting. But personal chef meal prep services are completely different. In fact, this is how most personal chefs who are making consistent, predictable money are actually getting paid. So in this video, I want to take this all, define it up, and walk you exactly through how personal chef services, also known as meal prep services, actually work week to week, what clients are paying for, and why this model works so well if you want to get paid to cook without restaurant hours, without having a whole lot of overhead like a commercial kitchen, or without hustling selling plates on Facebook. Hey there, Chef Shelly here. I've been a personal chef for 20 years, and if you love to cook and you're thinking, I want to get paid for this, but I can't go to culinary school, I don't want a restaurant job, and I don't have the money for overhead for a commercial kitchen, you are in the right place. On this channel, I show you exactly how to build a personal chef business that gives you consistent clients, a predictable schedule, and real income. And you don't have to work nights, weekends, and holidays or burn yourself out to do it. Whether you haven't started yet or if you're stuck at trying to get clients, this is the system that will reliably get you paid for cooking. So let's get into it. What personal chef services or personal chef meal prep actually is, we're going to start with a clean definition because almost all of the confusion comes from this part. Personal chef meal prep is a service-based business. You're cooking customized meals for a client in their home, more like a part-time private chef. You're not selling plates and taking orders. You're not bulk cooking out of your house. You're not operating like a restaurant or caterer in a big commercial kitchen. Every client gets food specifically made for them based on their preferences, and in most cases, again, this happens in the client's home. Now, in some locations where it's legal, there are more and more in California all the time, personal chefs can cook from their own home, but either way, you're cooking specifically and especially for one client at a time. This is not a volume game. It's not about you decide on these meals and try to sell as many as you can. It's about the client, and this distinction is important. So again, what this is not, selling your weekly menu online, cooking massive batches of the same food, worrying and racing to keep food costs as low as you can, managing dozens of individual orders. All that is a completely different business model. When people say meal prep doesn't pay or I'm not making any money, they're usually talking about that bulk kind of food prep, and that's a very different thing. What a typical week actually looks like for a personal chef, let me walk you through it. What this actually looks like in real life, because this is where people either relax or maybe even realize they've been completely overthinking it. So a typical week usually starts with your client's menu selection. Most personal chefs start out with their recipe collection. They talk to the client and work them through a food questionnaire to find out all their likes, dislikes, if they have any food sensitivities and stuff. They go back to their collection and make a list from that of what the client can choose from each week. Some personal chefs like to give the client just like the 5 things they're going to have that week. So there's no single right way. I just find that second way is way more work. The goal is simply to stay in your lane as far as what you want to cook. That's where your recipe collection comes in, but letting the client make their choices. This is where the personal chef service side comes in. Basically, you just don't want to be reinventing the wheel every week. So then after you get their selections, you pull all your recipes and make your grocery list. Now, when you're doing your grocery shopping, you're shopping at the best grocery stores. You're not shopping at like Restaurant Depot. You're not ordering food from Cisco because, again, you're not volume batching and prepping meals, right? You're shopping specifically for what that client has asked you to cook for. Their groceries are their groceries. Now, this is important because in your personal chef business, groceries should be reimbursed separately from your service. We're going to come back to why that matters in a minute. So you've done your grocery shopping and then you have your cook day. Most personal chefs work part-time, maybe 3 days a week. Some choose to work full-time, 5 days a week, or even do 2 clients in one day. But when you're doing these personal chef services, they're almost always on weekdays, not on weekends, which is great because then you're working a normal schedule like everyone else, right? So you arrive at their home, you cook their meals, you package them, you clean the kitchen, leave and get paid. That's it. You don't have to come back multiple times. You're not serving the food, cooking it fresh and serving it to them like a private chef. You don't do deliveries. You don't have to worry about being on call like a private chef. Basically, it all goes in their fridge for the client to reheat when they're ready to eat. Your workday is done when your cook day is done. Now, this just happens week after week after week. This predictability is a big reason why this model works so well. So let's talk about how we actually get paid as personal chefs, because this is where things really click. In your personal chef business, where you're doing personal chef services, personal chef meal prep services, you're not getting paid by the hour and you're not getting paid by meal. You're getting paid for the service of coming and preparing their food during their cook day. Most personal chefs charge this, and the way I recommend it is a flat rate for your cook day. The groceries are reimbursed, like I said, so that's totally separately. And this rate covers everything. Your time cooking, your time planning, all that stuff, your skill level, your cleaning at the client's house, if you want travel time or whatever, keep it simple. It's just all included in your flat rate, the entire service experience. Like I said, groceries are handled separately, reimbursed. And this is critical because when you separate groceries from your service fee, you're not squeezing your income into what's left over every time grocery prices change. And good Lord, how much have grocery prices changed in the last couple of years, right? You're also not mentally trying to value their ingredients on what they're choosing to eat or going to multiple stores trying to value shop. The people that want a personal chef want the service, not someone who's going to be spending their time going to multiple grocery stores trying to get them the cheapest stuff available. That's not what personal chef clients want. And again, you're being paid for your service. If they just cared about the food, they'd buy pre-made food at the grocery store, right? Having this as a high-end service is what creates predictable income. You know every Monday who you're cooking for, you know who your Tuesday client is, they're having service every week, week after week, or maybe they're even every other week, they're still getting a service every other week. You know what you're going to make every single cook day. You know how much you're going to make each week and each month. And when you're charging a flat rate like this, you don't get punished for getting faster and better and more efficient. You're not racing the clock. You're not worrying about if you need to sit down and take a break. And the best part is you don't need a massive number of clients to make great money. A small number of consistent weekly clients creates a great and stable income for you. So let me get back to what I was saying about what clients are really paying for. This part surprises a lot of chefs. Clients aren't hiring you because they want fancy plating or they want complicated recipes or they want to be super impressed with your credentials. They're hiring you because they want their life to be easier. They want food they enjoy. They want consistent service. They want someone who's reliable. They want someone who they can trust to be in their home. It's just one less thing to have to worry about in their busy life. That is actually the value. And this is why being organized and being dependable matters way more than any credentials you could have, any creativity you can have with edible flowers or flavored foams or anything like that. Save that for if you want to do special event catering. You don't need to cook like a Michelin-starred chef. You deliver your services like a professional. This is kind of one of those things, like I said, that people have a misconception about. So let me talk about a few other of those myths that cause people to stall out. You don't need a commercial kitchen to do personal chef services. That's why they're handled in the client's home. You do not need to go to culinary school. There are a ton of super talented personal chefs. Most personal chefs have not gone to culinary school. I've been a personal chef for 20 years, no culinary school. Spoiler alert, Gordon Ramsay, extremely successful restaurant chef, did not go to culinary school. That's not a thing if you are a good cook. Being a self-taught chef is 100% valid. Meal prep is a misnomer. Personal chef services, also known as meal prep services, is not a low-paid service. Clients that want a personal chef are not looking for the cheapest option. They're looking for a reliable service provider. People who struggle in this space aren't struggling because they can't cook. They're struggling because they're either mixing business models or they're not doing the things they need to do consistently to get clients. This model of a personal chef business and doing these personal chef services is ideal if you want to get paid to do what you love, cook, you want to work during weekdays, you want repeating clients, a predictable income, a business that fits in your life instead of taking it over, all those things. It's not an ideal business for you if you want something large scale where you have staff and you're going to scale. That is more like catering out of a commercial kitchen. If you want to make money, like I said, setting a menu and just selling a high volume of plates. If you love the vibe of doing catering, you can 100% do small, intimate caterings as a business of one or the help of one person helping you serve. Again, none of these things are right or wrong. They're just different businesses. But having this clarity here and deciding what you really want can save tons of time and frustration. So the biggest mistake people can make, and if you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. The biggest mistake people make when starting meal prep services is trying to copy like catering pricing models or how restaurants run and wondering why they're confused and overwhelmed and underpaid. Again, personal chef meal prep is a service business, and when you treat it like one with a clear structure and pricing and systems, everything gets totally easier. If this video helped clear up some questions and confusion for you on how a personal chef business works, what a personal chef does, the difference between personal chef services, also known as meal prep services, compared to doing meal prep actually works, that's great. And your next step is I have a free guide that walks you through exactly how to do a personal chef service for practice. It's the same framework I teach inside the Personal Chef Business Academy and the one that I've been doing for 20 years to make great money and get paid to do what I love on my own terms. You'll find that linked below. Make sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so that you never miss one of my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.